My name is Gina Hollenbeck, and I'm a stage 4 lung cancer patient and advocate, and I'm here with the lovely Christine Lovely.
Hi everyone, I'm Christine Lovely. I'm a lung cancer physician and scientist, and hi Gina, it's great to be here with you today.
Yeah, great to be here with you. We've heard a lot of things just about research, and there are a lot of different terms to kind of define research. Can you tell us like the difference between something that's kind of real and something that's like basic research, that's like real research?
Yeah, Gina, I think this is a really great question and an important one because there are lots of types of different types of research, and we need to have different types of research. So in the research world, we think about basic research or basic science research, translational research, and clinical research. And maybe we could get into what each of those means.
Yeah, so tell me, like, what is translation? Where should we start? A basic?
Yeah, let's start with basic research, and let me make an analogy for everyone watching this video. We all drive cars, and every car has an engine and a carburetor and a computer inside the car that makes it run. But all of our cars look a little bit different. They may be sedans, they may be pickup trucks, they may be SUVs, they're different colors. So they're customized, the car is customized to individual people and their preferences. Research is not that dissimilar. The basic research in this analogy would be, how does the engine work? How does the carburetor work? How does the computer work? The translational research would be, let me turn that basic component into something that we can apply to different people in different scenarios. Let me put that in scientific terms now. Basic science research is really looking at a very, very deep level, at the nuts and bolts of how our cells grow. So how do you make DNA in a cell? How do you make proteins in the cell? What are the processes that regulate making DNA and making protein? Translational research is building on that basic research. So translational research cannot exist without the basic research foundation. The translational research is trying to say, Gina, how is your DNA different than my DNA, different from the DNA that's everybody who's watching this video? And then finally, clinical research or clinical trials is really applying the basic and translational research into patients in a forward direction. And so we absolutely need all three kinds of research because they depend on each other and they inform each other. And in the best case scenario, we would go from basic to translational to clinical research, and then backwards from clinical to translational to basic. So we are constantly learning and iterating on this process, this real bench to bedside and bedside to bench approach.
Yeah, well, as a patient, of course, I want to donate to research because that's so important I feel like it's important to my disease, and even my prognosis in the end. So can you tell me, how is research funded and how does that work? Can it go into this huge snowball and all of a sudden be this huge astronomical thing, or what is funding for research like?
Yes, so that's a good question too, and it depends on what kind of research you're talking about. And let's talk about basic science research and translational research, the research that's more occurring in the laboratory before it gets to the clinic or the hospital. And I will say translational research always has a patient component, but translational research is happening in a lab, not necessarily in the clinic. So for laboratory research, which encompasses both basic and translational research, it is like running a small business. And so research has to be funded with grants, and researchers like myself will apply to organizations like the National Institutes of Health or the National Cancer Institute to ask for funding for research purposes. So you have to make a very strong, compelling argument about why the research needs to be done, what are the questions that you're asking, and how is this going to ultimately help all the citizens of our country. If it's a federal grant, how is it going to advance knowledge? But I would think of research very much like running a small business, is that you have to find ways to make your business run through funding. It's not paid for necessarily by an institution. It is all through grants and through philanthropy and through people donating either their tax money or their personal money towards advancing science.
Well, thanks so much, Christine. It's so nice. That helps just kind of clear some things up when it comes to research and kind of what we can do to donate to research and figure out kind of how things, go. So thanks so much. We appreciate you, and thanks so much for being on Hope
Thank
with
you for
Answers.
having me.